Hello and hello again. My name is Gabby. Welcome. So in this life, we have a lot to be angry about. This is something that seems very obvious, but it wasn't obvious to me. And when I realized this, it made me feel a lot better about my life and all the things that I was mad about. I've struggled with anger pretty much my whole life, but it's not something I realized until about maybe 2 or 3 years ago when I really started thinking about my life. You know, because some things in my life, like when I was molested, I tried my best not to pay attention to and just try to act like it never happened. But I got to this point where I had to stop lying to myself. I had to keep it real with myself, because if I wasn't gonna keep it real with myself, then who was, you know? And the more I dug into my past and really started thinking about things that I forgot about or I didn't want to think about, the more I realized why I always felt like I had such heavy weight over me and why I would always be so ready deep down inside to like fight somebody. And y'all, it's crazy because you think once you come into a realization of something like this that you start moving forward, but it's so easy to get stuck where you're at and continuously think about it. That's where I was at, and I was really starting to let the anger fester. And what really showed me that I really needed to get myself together, I think it was the end of 2020. No, it wasn't 2022. Me and my daughter were coming from a basketball game. Yep, it was 2022. And her dad was deployed at the time, and her time to talk to him was coming up soon. So I was trying to hurry up and get back to the house from the game. And then I went to make a right turn, gassed it, slammed my car right into like this little teeny itty bitty compact car right in front of me. And I really didn't see it, y'all. I really didn't see it. And so the lady pulled over, and she had, I think her son in there who was a teenager. He was driving. So I pulled over too. I had my kids in the car. So the lady came over to me. I rolled down my window and she was asking me for my insurance. I said, okay, give me a second. I'm looking for it on my phone. She was like, you hit me. I was like, I know. You hit my car. I was like, I know. She was like, I need to see your ID. I need to see your insurance card. I was like, I'm pulling up my insurance card right now, but I'm not about to give you my ID. And she was like, well, I need to see your ID. I was like, no, you don't. I'm looking. She was like, where's your insurance card? I said, I have it online. And like, now I'm really starting to get mad. She was like, why don't you have your insurance card? Like, she was really talking like this. Why don't you have your insurance card in your car? I was like, because it's 2022 and I can have my insurance card on my phone. It's online. And I'm looking to get it. You need to calm down and wait. And she walked off. And the minute she walked off, I just felt, it was so crazy. Like, part of me felt so bad, and another part of me felt so invigorated, y'all. Like, I was on fire. And I knew at that moment, like, Gabby, you was wrong. You just rammed into this lady's car, and you fussing her out. This lady have every right to be mad at you. You truly inconvenienced her and her son and their day. So I got the information up. I gave it to her. At this point, some man in her life pulled up and they was on the phone together. I called my insurance, I put in the claim, whatever, all that stuff. And by the end of it, I got out of the car because I went to go apologize to her because I knew I was wrong. And she apologized too. She was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that your babies were in the car. I was like, I know. It's okay. And she explained that it was her son's first time driving, and I apologize for that, for making his first time driving so traumatic. But I say all this to say that that's when I really realized that I really needed to start processing all the anger I was feeling, because that lady didn't deserve that. And sometime later, I actually tried to go to a therapist to help process some of this stuff and work through it. That experience was not ideal. Before even getting into my past or my story or whatever, they was already trying to push antidepressants on me. Can y'all believe that? I told myself that I might try to go therapy again, because I know all therapists are different. You know, they're all different. But that very much scared me away from therapy. I started trying to find videos, books, and everything like that. And of course, the first book I went back to was the Bible. The book that I had already been trying to read into to figure out how to process some of the anger that I was feeling. And it's crazy because so many of the scriptures about anger, I felt like were not helping me. They were telling you basically to not be angry and how being angry is foolish, but not how to not be angry. I have my promise Bible right here to read y'all some of them. Proverbs 15:1. A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Ephesians 4:26. Be angry and do do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your wrath. Proverbs 14:29. He who is slow to wrath has great understanding, but he who is impulsive exalts a folly. There's so many of them, but I'm gonna read this one last one. Ecclesiastes 7:9. Do not hasten in your spirit to be angry, for anger rests in the bosoms of fools. Reading all these type of scriptures only made me feel worse, because it just confirmed the fact that I don't need to be mad. I don't need to be moving off of my anger, but I really just felt like I couldn't help it. And coming to this space where I was starting to understand that I really had a lot to be angry about made me feel better. And in that process, I was able to accept the anger and actually be angry. I think a lot of times we get angry and we feel angry and then we feel bad for it because we feel the weight that we're holding, we feel the way that we come off. We realize that we're playing the same records in our heads over and over, whining and crying about the same things over and over, and we know how really downcast it makes us feel, but we keep doing it. That's actually an addiction. Scientifically, that is a bodily addiction. We get addicted to a lot of these emotions. So realizing that helped me too, because it helped me see that though it was important for me to really allow myself to feel my feelings and be angry, if I went for too long or went for too much, I can actually create an addiction. When you feel a certain way, a certain level of sadness or anger or whatever, and it's just under the radar, it's always there, but you've learned how to cover it up or hide it. That's where I was at. And when I think about my life, the older I got, it just started to feel like, why? You know, like, why? And I just started to get madder about my situation. And then when I actually started to get enlightened and realizing that some of the mess I got into was based off my own ignorance and decision making, I started to get mad at myself for where I got myself, on top of being mad at my life and being mad that it was my fault, so I could only be mad at myself. It was just continuing to build, y'all. And I was thinking about this last night because I'm like, okay, Gabby, you had your time to realize that you were actually mad, to embrace your feelings and your anger and allow yourself to be mad, to moan and groan and gripe about it. You've allowed your anger to take you over so many times, to win so many times, to just float above you and around you. You sat in it. You were engrossed in it. Now what? I think at the place I am now, I've just been clawing away from it, like tiptoeing. I don't consider myself an angry person anymore, but I do struggle with impatience and getting easily annoyed and irritated. And that's what almost anything, almost anybody in this world that we live in, with the opinions people have, social media, the things that you just see just by going to the store, driving down the road, you can easily get irritated. It can happen in half a second. I had to realize that, with that being said, that it's time to let it go and play the hand you was dealt. Like, I really started thinking about when we play hand cards. You know, everybody says that you gotta play the hand you was dealt, right? And you got a person who gonna get a trash hand, suck their teeth or whatever, be annoyed and be like, ugh, it's so lame, man, it's whack, and just let everybody in the game know that their hand is trash. It's always that person who will let you know when their hand is garbage. And as they lose, they will continue to talk big cash about how trash their hand is. And what they do, they lose in the end. Then you got another person who either might not say anything or might show a little aggravation or discontent when they get a bad hand, but then they finesse it. They try to finesse because they like, all right, my hand is trash, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna try to work this game, I'm gonna work this system, I'm gonna move with intention, and I'm going to win, period. And I was really thinking about that, like, Gabby, what type of player have you been with your hand? You've been that player with the hand who's just been complaining the whole time, throwing out your cards, plucking cards, and you're still losing because you have a loser mentality. I said that to myself the other day, that I needed to stop acting like a loser. It was something that I said. I think something happened that day and I just felt so let down. I said something and I was just like, dang, I sound like a loser. I need to stop acting like a loser. And I didn't say that out of self-hate or try to bully myself or nothing like that. I was just calling it like it was, like, Gabby, you sound like a loser and you need to cut it out. And from that time, it started to fester, and then I really spent some time with God that I hadn't in a while. I had been feeling this weight on me and then wondering, God, why you not giving me revelation no more? Like, why I feel like I'm not learning anything else, or I'm not getting any wiser. It became clear, girl, you're not talking to God. Where do you think wisdom comes from? Where do you think knowledge comes from? You're not going to get it if you're not plugging in with the source. You can read all the books you want, but it's not going to click if you don't put in all the pieces to make the thing work. You need to be that player with finesse. You had every reason to be mad, girl. You had every right to be mad, girl. You really did. Think about all the things that you've been through. How hard everything has been for you. Have your time to be angry, which you have had. You have had plenty of time to be mad. Now it's time to clear your throat, straighten up your back, get your mind right, and play this game. No matter at what depth your anger goes, or even if it's not anger and it's sadness, you've been a sad girl, a sad boy, an anxious girl, an anxious boy. How long you gonna let the record play? When are you gonna do something different? You already know that you're feeling some type of way. Everybody around you already know you're feeling some type of way. Especially like when you're in a predicament like I am. It's at a place where there's nothing else that I can do. There's nothing else that nobody else can do. I have talked to people and we have had discussions. I have cried. I have been angry. I have journaled. I have prayed. People have apologized. I have apologized. I have held things over people's head. Hurt just pouring out that is bringing up old stuff. It's like, what are we doing here? And when I say we, I'm talking about me and my soul. What am I doing? I can't keep treating myself like this, and I can't keep treating other people like this. I already know what's up. It's time to move on. It's time to look at your hand, look at your life, and some of the things that you've experienced, just accept it. It is what it is, and work with it. Some things I wake up every morning knowing exactly what's about to happen. And I can either choose to put up a wall to try to help me walk around what I know is about to anger me, or I could be proactive about it and not let that anger take control of me, except that some of these things I'm experiencing are reality and might always be that way, and pray to God and do research and look for tactics that can help me. Like, for instance, I have flat feet. Back in like 2020, I pulled an arch. At that time, I didn't know that's what happened. I really didn't have a good relationship with going to get checked out when I needed. If it wasn't life or death, I was like, I'll be okay. I didn't even know I had flat feet until like a year after this happened. The pain never went away, and so I finally decided to utilize my insurance and go get help. And that's when I found out for sure, because I was doing my own research on Google, so it got confirmed that my arch collapsed. I have overpronated feet. So now you're not gonna see me working out with the cutest little Nike shoes or none of that. I'm wearing some Asics, period. You might catch me with some Hokas or something like that that's good for my feet. Anyway, most days I wake up with a stinging sharp pain in my ankle, and sometimes when I wake up I get so mad because I'm like, why? This is so inconvenient. Why did I have to have flat feet? It happened when I was exercising. The day before, I was running hills, and that day it happened, I decided I should go walk to go pick Sarai up from daycare that day instead of drive, because I was just trying to be active. The 7-minute drive turned into a 1-hour walk. Where I live is very hilly, so it's not like it was a straight way. Been mad about it ever since, but there's some days where I think like, this happened like 4 years ago. Like, why am I still in pain? Girl, these the feet you was born with. Yes, you were active and you hurt your foot, but that's part of being active when you don't know your body. I didn't know my body. I didn't know my feet. And I wasn't wearing the proper type of shoes, especially with the type of aggressive working out that I was doing. And then I didn't go to the doctor. And then when I finally went to a foot therapist, the physical therapy workouts I needed to be doing, I was slacking on them, wasn't really doing them. So it's like, you already have been given a remedy and you're not doing it. So why are you still waking up mad? Play your hand and win. Of course, your feelings are real, and you should give yourself time to really sit in them. A lot of us don't grow up hearing that or knowing that. So to hear that, you have a right to bask in your feelings. That's something that we don't hear, but it's true. Once you've given yourself enough time to do that, it's time for you to pick yourself up and start to process this thing. Let your emotions have their time, and then start working on these emotions so that you can let it go and play the hand that you were dealt. There's some things that happened to us that were our fault, and there's some things that weren't. But at the end of the day, it's already done. Work with what you got. The longer you sit there and let those emotions take over you, the longer you're just going to be sitting there and not getting anywhere. So many times I have wondered, why am I not progressing like I want to? But then when I realize all the emotional weight I'm carrying, it's like, duh, what you thought? Did you really thought you was about to get here with all of these emotions harboring inside of you? Did you really think that? You have too many other things to work out. You're over here worried about when you're gonna get this or when this is gonna happen, and you're not even right within. You have so many things that you need to let go and that you need to process. This thing will not happen overnight for most people. It might for some. That's what they call a breakthrough. But you can't get to where you want to get or be where you want to be if you harboring all of these negative emotions. They're locking you down to the past. You're holding yourself hostage to your emotions. And you can't truly walk into the blessings that you have. Talk to who you got to talk to. Tell people that what you need to tell them. Get that stuff off your chest. You got to do the work if you really want to be free and get what God has for you. So many times I used to get mad and be like, I'm not you, Jesus. I can't take for so much, Jesus. But instead of getting mad and frustrated and telling Jesus, explaining to him and expressing to him that I'm not him, like he doesn't know that, I should have been hollering thank you, praising him. But if I can get to even where I am right now, considering all the things I have to be ticked off, you can get here too. That's it for today, y'all. I try to make it short. I've been trying to make my videos short, but this one got a little lengthy. But anyway, y'all, that's it for this one. I love y'all so much, and until the next one, and peace and love, I'm out.